Hello again, and welcome to this PractiTest webinar. Today, we're happy to host Santosh Tupad, who will talk about managing security tests and creating a secure culture. Santosh has played diverse roles in his life, which involve being an entrepreneur, a passion software tester, a blogger, a reader, a trainer, a coach, and a hacker, both black hat, white hat, and gray hat, and many more. Today he will speak with us about security testing, and we hope you will enjoy this session. If you have any question, please feel free to write it in the Q&A and we will address it in the end of the session. And of course, we will share the recording at the end with anyone who have registered for this session. Santosh, handing the mic to you.
Hey Noah, thank you so much for the introduction. And I welcome everyone to this webinar here, which is about managing your security tests and also creating a secure culture in your company or organization or in your team, no matter how big or how small it is. Usually it is easier in the smaller teams, and working with the bigger teams, it's a different challenge altogether. So today we are going to talk about how you can create the security tests, even if you are interested in learning about security individually, or you have a role in a company where you need to create a secure culture, and also speak about how you can inculcate this learning into your uh, daily tasks, or the way you learn in your company or the project you are working with, and how you can really make sure that you are adding value and helping your users' data to be protected, because privacy matters. We all know that, and we have been speaking about it for a long time, more than 10 years now. However, what I say is there is not much great progress that we have made as a whole community in the globally. So we have to really think about what kind of people we need to have in our company in terms of security testing, and also learn about the unconventional style of hacking for good. Not, I'm not saying that, okay, one has to be a black hat hacker, of course. And when the introduction mentioned about the black hat hacking, I had some experience long time back, and having that experience has made me a better white hat hacker today. So I do not commit black hat hacking crimes, but use a black hat hacking learning in my white hat hacking so that I can help the companies across the globe. So moving forward, okay, let me do an introduction in my style, which is a conventional style here. So which you heard about network security, application security expert, and of course I'm Santosh Tupad, as you already know, and zero-day vulnerability finder, award winner in security area, or speaking engagements across the globe in different conferences, and also a security expert. Now, security expert is a perspective by people, and that's why I call myself a security expert. Not that that I believe so, but I believe that expert would actually make me dumb. So it's a continuous learning for me rather than just saying, hey, look, okay, I'm an expert. Okay, let me stop it. Somehow it doesn't work with me. But for people, I'm a security expert. And also coder, I write in JavaScript and Python, which I use in my security related work, or even automating certain things. It could be network security, or it could be application security itself. And I write at worktocode.com/blog. You will find the different articles in terms of coding, cybersecurity, and testing. And this one is an unconventional story about me. And all of this started when I was a child, child or a kid. So that was around 12-year to 16-year old. So I started doing all these things. I was a great liar, a thief, because I stole a lot of different things from my school as well. However, I did not get caught, but that was for a good reason. Somehow, I did not steal anything and keep it with myself, because I told my mother and she gave it back. So first thing is I shouldn't have told it to my mom, right? So anyways, so lock picker. So I could pick the locks when I was around 15 to 16 somewhere, 15 or 16, I could open the doors of a refrigerator. I could open the locks of the schools, the infrastructure, and then web application hacker. But I was not really a great person at web application hacking, but I could do certain things as a script kiddie. That was my role. I could I could just download software from the web and just click on the button, which are like point and click, and then something is given back to me, and then it's hacked. And that was my first hack when I got the credentials of a dial-up networking connection when I was 16. That was some subscription of the internet, which was 56 kbps modem, which was really slow, but it was great because I got to know that there is something called as a computer, and there is a great internet where I can access anyone, I can talk to anyone, I can do great things with that. So this is about the unconventional side of me. I was also a trust builder and a breaker. I would lie to people. I would build the trust with them, and I would finally break it for my own benefits. One of the example is stealing the chocolates from the shops, like shoplifting. I was really good at it because you know when you build the trust, you show that you are a good person, you are a kind person. People usually believe you because they are good people, right? They want to feel that they are kind as well. So whenever you have a story which is about kindness, they are going to believe it. And hackers use them because I have used by myself all these things. This is my unconventional story. Moving ahead, what I want to focus in this webinar is about managing the security tests and creating a secure culture. But before understanding how to do that, we will speak about great myths. The reason I speak about great myths is I usually get pissed off whenever people or in the companies they give these kind of reasons. I've made them anonymous here. They say automate everything and we will be fine. And that's a myth. You cannot do that part. The reason is if we were automating everything and we were fine, and then why do we see the breaches on day-to-day basis even today? You open the stories on Reddit or you open the news section of any website, you always see these breaches. Some company had a data breach, some people lost a lot of username and password as well, and those have been put on eBay or some other websites or discussion forums. Now, then if you are using the same weapon, the black hat hackers are using automation tools, and we are using automation tools, we are automating, then why are we seeing the security breaches? That's a question that you need to ask yourself. And the next one, use these tools and we will be secure. As though they are like Messiah or the great godly tools, and everyone uses the free tools or open source tools, or even the off-the-shelf tools as well. They pay a lot for the license and then they buy them. Of course, they are going to help you, but they it's not like a silver bullet for your security. And it's the same question to you again. If people who are black hat hackers are using the same tools, then why are we still seeing the same breaches even though we have used the same tools to find the security bugs? That's the question again. We rock because okay, we get annual review of our security, the EAE movement, right? Now that's a bigger problem. Most of the companies they come to me as well and they say, Santosh, we do an annual review and you have to do the security tests, which could be an open web application security project, top 10 attacks, or proactive controls, or the countermeasures of their desktop application or web application or mobile apps or Internet of Things, anywhere, wherever there is code. And I'm like, what are you thinking actually? Are you thinking that okay, no one would try to hack your application after this one-time annual review and you forget about security all days? That's not going to happen because there are hackers, like millions of hackers, who would always look at your application whenever they feel like, and we cannot really predict when this is going to happen. However, on white hat hacking side, which is the companies or organizations, we are just doing it for 10 days or 20 days or 30 days, and we are forgetting all those 365 minus 20 days. And That's not going to really happen. We have to get away from these myths and really understand security. Security doesn't work this way in the black hat world or the dark side of hacking. It's completely different. We are barking at the wrong tree here. We are thinking we are doing good, but maybe you are doing good, but actually you're not doing great. And the reason is the malicious hackers haven't actually looked at your application. That's the only difference. It just means that the laws are protecting you, and hackers haven't used your application or did a turing of your application in terms of understanding what kind of data I can actually hack because of my grudge on this company, or it could be my enemy who works for that company. It could be my benefits, which is like hacking the accounts or gaining some money from the bank accounts or even the credits from different e-commerce industries, companies. So there are many reasons for doing this. It's actually scary. Now, what, the reason could be anything, but as a company employer or employee, my goal is to help the company to safeguard from the malicious hackers, the bad guys who are the black hat guys. And we are trying to play a role of white hat hacking here. So all these claims are kind of bullshit to me because everyone is feeding you with all these claims which do not play any role in security at all. We are running behind process, too much of process that we are forgetting that we are fighting against millions of hackers while there are only 5 white hat hackers inside the organization. The approach has to be different. The process has to be different. If you really want a process, then make sure it's great. It's not because, okay, you need to have that because you are a manager in a company or you are just doing your job to get a paycheck. In that way, we are not doing any good to the humanity in terms of security. So for that, I would like to show you some of the problems in the industry. So we have a massive skill shortage. We have very few white hat hackers, and I mean compared to black hat hackers. I mean that's what I think. Having an experience meeting people online who were black hat guys as well. It was long time back, 15 years back or so, and functional testing bias. Many people just say functional testing, take a spreadsheet, write your test case, just mark, pass, fail. First of all, that testing is not really adding any value to even to your uh, testing functional testing process. Now that problem, first functional testing bias, and we call security and performance as non-functional testing. I never understood why do you call non-functional testing security and performance? They are must. For instance, someone hacks your application tomorrow and then makes your whole application non-functional. Is is that the reason why you call it a non-functional? Because I wouldn't call non-functional, but call it as security. That is a must in today's world. Maybe before 20 years or something, you may speak about, oh, we don't need this because there were many, there were very few hackers, but today we have handful of them, and they can just use your application to hack it for their own benefits any day, anytime. So be careful about it. And fear of learning ethical hacking. Now you have this fear because you want to do everything in 30 days or 5 days or 10 days. You want it to happen just like in a click. If you do that, if you have that approach, I think, okay, of course you will have the fear until one dies. And even then, okay, you wouldn't understand what is hacking really. So you have to be really passionate and you need to be intrinsically motivated. And scanners just don't suffice. People always use scanners, active scanning, passive scanning. We use a HP Web Inspect. We use this company's off-the-shelf software. They are good, but they are not great, like I said before. And extrinsic motivation is powerful than intrinsic. When I say extrinsic, it could be your paycheck, which is important, but you wouldn't really feel good with your day-to-day work if you're not motivated intrinsically. You're not doing it for your own integrity, or you feel good about your learning. And lack of understanding within the team. Developers and testers have always been fighting, and I don't get it because there is a customer whom we are serving, and we have to work as a team. And the team word has lost its meaning somehow. So that's a misunderstanding. Even if you report a bug, okay, you have to really struggle so much to make them understand, because they think you are a tester, okay, you are making their job difficult, and you are thinking that, oh, this developer is intentionally doing this. So we have many problems like that, and ample number of reasons for giving excuses. I had this, okay, I had to pay my insurance policy, and that my life has too many problems. Of course, we all deal with the problems in life, but also if you want to learn something, you have to solve one thing at a time, and comfort layer as well. I'm okay to do an average job, no one asked me, and I'm fine, I'm happy. Well, when the recession hits you, that's when you think about, oh, what should I do now? No one will give me a job. So if you are passionate about learning, I don't think so no recession or no pandemic will actually affect you, because you will be the one person who people, I mean, who, where companies will hire you and you can work for them. I'm doing that. And many people ask me, has pandemic affected you? Not at all. I work for companies, they need me. I have a good number of projects even now as well. So moving forward, we'll not look into this. I will go back here. So these were some of the myths and secure culture, which we are speaking about today as well, about creating a secure culture. That's a big lie. Many people who claim that we have a secure culture in an organization, they are lying always, because they need projects in their company. No one speaks about it. You are doing, I mean, someone is tailgating in their company, and someone writes a password on their CPU cabinet, which is a server password, and they speak about secure culture. I think there's a big difference between attending a 3 hour talk when you join a company as a new joiner, versus when you start working for a company continuously, you forget them, because that's a process that the company has about information security, or how people have to safeguard their computers, physical security, and other things. If you really want, I think it takes a lot in terms of efforts, time, and understanding, reading blogs, or how I need to build a secure culture within my organization, including the CEO, C-level management, CEO, CTO, or the CPO, all these people, because malicious hackers are everywhere. You see, it could be my grandma, it could be a kid, it could be grandpa, or it could be Mr. Borat, it could be an anonymous person here. And there could be someone here, okay, that's my picture. Maybe I'll just blur it out, because maybe I could be a black hat, maybe I'm not. That's up to you for, so that, okay, you can build an image of me, and maybe I'm trying to build a trust here. Moving forward, this is what I did when I started learning hacking, and my motivation was thinking crime. It could be stealing someone's money. It could be stealing chocolates, which is shoplifting. Or it could be go to e-commerce and do not pay anything. There are these kind of security bugs in your APIs. API security is the brain. So if you do not do your API security well enough, I think, okay, it's a doomsday. It's doomed to failure. So be careful, and thinking like a criminal is the best way to learn hacking, because I start thinking like a black hat, because I'm fighting the black hat, not the white hat guys. So I have to practice thinking like black hat people, so that it's a great fight between us, and we can always think about safeguarding our data and the privacy of our users against them. Demo time. So this is where, because I think that without demonstration, a webinar will be just a webinar, but not something great. So let me go to my Chrome browser here. Let me cancel this. I think we have a different window here. Great. So if you look into this application, this is a test site, but of course you can try it on your applications as well. And the reason I'm showing you this is connecting with what kind of hackers or what kind of security testers you need to build in your team. Because if you're getting all the people who are certified, okay, I'm a certified ethical hacker, I did this certification, I did that certification, I don't think so. You know what's happening in your project, what's happening in your organization. You have to allow someone to demonstrate their skills, be it in security or be it in testing or be it in coding as well. So what we are going to do here is we'll go to sign up here, and I'm going to create a user. This user already exists. Great. So we'll choose one more username. Just keep watching what I'm doing. So I'll create this and create account. So account created. Functionally, well, it works. Okay, in terms of security, I mean, single character password is not really a great security. That's a password storage. Do not allow that because the password policy is weak. Anyways, we'll try to log in using the same password. We'll ignore that because the intention of this one is not showing you the password storage. But we have already signed in.
Just to make sure, we're not seeing your screen right now.
Oh, sorry.
So we see a screen of demo type, but we're not seeing your screen. So maybe, oh, perfect.
Okay,
now
cool. Great. So let me sign out here. And again, try to sign up. This is a test website. I will say single character password. That's a security bug, but we are not focusing on that right now. So we created an account. Now we can sign in saying this username. Look at that. Okay, we logged in using this username, Santosh T, and with a single character. Functionally, it works great. So what you would do is you would always ponder over the user interface and say, okay, everything works fine. But what many people do, even some of the hackers, the white hat hackers who are certified, they do not understand what's going wrong because they only focus on attacks like the industry-based attacks, which could be OWASP top 10. Well, of course, OWASP top 10 is a great way to deal with the application security, but it's just very minimal because security is beyond OWASP top 10 as well. So if I go to sign up here, how I would say is, let me do an inspect on this. So that's a dev tools. Once I go into this, if I'm testing this form here, I look into the form data one by one, the line of codes. This is one line, second line, third line, all these different lines of code here, right? So what can I do? So if I focus in the interest of time, I'll directly go here. So you see this, it's a hidden field. Hidden field means that it won't be shown on the user interface. That's why you use a type hidden. So if someone says, okay, I will do I know how to use the tool called Burp Suite, or I know how to use this specific tool, Nmap or anything, I don't think so that they are going to get here inside the dev tools and understand what's really happening in this code. So my first guess would be is_author. I directly go and edit it to admin, is_admin. What happens if I create an account? So let me just say dummy and then create this account. So I'll change this to is_admin. So whenever I click on create account, we'll also look into the network here. When I click on this button, I should see a request. Great, account created. So if I see save profile, network request, that's a get request. And in here, you see that, okay, query string parameters, this was a JSON request body, is_admin is true. Now to confirm that, if there is, because it gave me 200, okay. Look at this here, manage this server. We became admin just by changing that one thing in the client side code, because whatever we give it there, the server just accepts it. That's a big problem because there's no server side validation. So I can go to manage the server. There's the upload functionality as well for admin. So this is a role-based access, which is your API endpoint as well. It was not really done so well. As this is a vulnerable website, we can try try these things, but I'll tell you, you have this kind of security bugs all over the web. You can find any application, you can try these things, and most of the applications will have this, including e-commerce, including healthcare, including banking softwares as well, including anywhere, wherever there's code. What matters is your intention, how to really hack it, and what's in it for you. So moving on, we'll go, it was demo time. That demo, you got it so that you could understand. Who needs security education? Stakeholders, business analysts, managers, architects, developers, and anyone, including your CEO. If your CEO is working in your company without a badge and without the RFID access card, tell them directly. And if a CEO or a CTO would fire me for saying this, I would rather not work with those team members. I would just say thank you. I will find someone, okay, who can appreciate these skills, because that's really not good for my career. It's not really good for my learning if I continue to work with those people. Would I change it? Well, of course, if I have that role, I would try to change. But most of the people, if they are egoistical, and if they are like too much head weight, okay, I know everything, like I know it all person, then I leave the company and I join somewhere else. And I've done this before, and many times, because people did not listen to me. It could be security guards as well. It could be testers. If you see someone, okay, who is using the stick notes to add it on the CPU cabinet, stop them. You have to report these things to them. They have to use something which is reliable in terms of not getting the data into hackers' brain. That's the reason you also have the rogue insiders. A hacker need not be somewhere outside your organization. They could be inside you, among you, because that's where I said, okay, hackers could be my grandpa, my grandma, anyone. So for instance, if I ask you a question, what's your Facebook password in terms of the length? Most of you would tell me it's about 10 characters. So my question would be, is your Facebook password more than 10 characters? You will say, yeah, because you are thinking that, oh, I feel good because it's more than 10 characters. Ask yourself now, would you say, answer this question or not? Just for yourself. Is it more than 10? You would say, yes, let's assume that. It's more than 15? You would say no. So I know that so and so person has a password that's between 10 and 15. Never tell the length of your password. And also with the shoulder surfing as well. If someone is behind you and those are stars in your password field, they don't do much. They don't do much at all. Someone can look into your stars and also see how you are typing with your left hand and right hand, and it's the QWERTY keyboard or Dvorak keyboard. They can understand what it is. If you are using two fingers, just by looking at your fingers, two fingers means maybe you're using a special character. If you're using a bit lower than those numbers, they would say, okay, it's an alphabet or something. And most people have a password topology that ends with a number, and in between there's a special character, and some people start with a number and between special character or in the end special character. So all of us fall into the specific topology here. So everyone needs an education, even from a password. Do not set the passwords which have dictionary. For instance, if you say Israel @1, is it a strong password? For instance, if I go here, so let me take this back. Germany1 @. Of course, this has uppercase, this has lowercase, and this has a digit, and this has a special character. And most of your applications, whatever you are testing, would say this is a secure password. It's not a secure password. If I use a tool which was like cracking tools, this will be cracked within like 2 seconds or something. If you are using a great machine, a GPU rather than a CPU, a powerful machine with a great configuration, just 2 seconds or even 1 second, you can crack this password, because Germany is a dictionary word. So dictionary-based attack will work here. And that's the reason I don't want any of you to keep using dictionary. And your next question would be, so what do we use? Figure it out. So I want you to figure it out, because I want to focus on the other things here, which are important for you as a person who is working for a company. Training or coaching. Application security, which could be your web security, mobile security, or Internet of Things. All these are applications, including desktop or any application that comes under your application security training. Security requirements is very important here because most of the companies do not even define secure requirements for their product. Now, without having the requirements, you always have requirements for functional usability, UI, UX. Why not for security? If you don't have secure requirements, I think you are wasting a lot of time and money as well. You develop the whole product and then you say we need to change the whole architecture. Well, of course, okay, it's a good money, right? Okay, as a vendor, I would make good money, but I I don't have that dream where people give me a lot of projects. My goal as a privacy fighter is to help companies where they can save time, money, and moreover, the user's data, which is a top one priority for me. Secure design review, secure code review. If someone is writing a secure coding, I mean, forget secure code because most of them just make it work. If they were really thinking about secure code, they would think about secure requirements, security requirements. And there are many, based on the context, there are many different trainings like forensics or infrastructure security or network security. And that's where we use something called as threat modeling. Now, threat modeling, do not really think about it as something it's a model which we have to always use. There are many different models like this where you have to identify who could be a threat for my application. One could be spoofing is a category where you have different kinds of attacks. Tampering is a category. Repudiation is a category. Information disclosure, it could be like PHP 7.0 or PHP 3.5. There's some information revealed in your application about your technology stack. That's a problem as well. Denial of service, where you bring down the website or you make a feature not serve the users anymore. Denial of service attacks. Elevation of privileges. Now, this category, you are a user and you become an admin. So what we did before, when you looked into the demonstration, was elevation of privileges, where we made ourselves as an admin and we could play with all the admin related features just by changing that is underscore author to is underscore admin. The more you look into the developer tools and network tab and elements tab, it's actually going to help you a lot. Just, I mean, even though you are not a security tester, you can try playing around with the trial and error method. If there's something called as is moderator, just change it to is underscore teacher. If it's a educational based product, you can do that. Threat ranking, damage potential, reproducibility, exploitability, affected users, discoverability. Damage potential is something like how much damage is it causing to my reputation or to the application? Are there any affected users? And how did it affect them? So that's what D stands for. And reproducibility, how easily this can be reproduced. So based on this, you give a ranks saying 5 points for damage potential or 10 points or 20 points based on what these numbers mean to you or your company or the team who have a shared vision for your product. So first of all the team members need to agree on something, the numbers, or else you will always be having a fights within your team saying, well, I will give it 10, I will give it 20, because I may see it as 20. My 20 is your one. And that depends on the training and coaching and the knowledge sharing, how much knowledge your team has about security. Because I tried in my ex company 10 years back when I spoke about the cross-site scripting attack, the manager said, where is the bug? Well, it's a HTML injection attack. And he was saying he did not really think about it as a bug. And finally, he was a senior manager. I was a new person. This was my first year of my career. So all those things happen. So that's why have trainings and coaching in your company and have this shared understanding of what it means or to save the fights. Okay, have the fights with the black hat hackers, not within your team. Affected users, how many? One or all of them, or maybe some users, or all the different roles. The last one is discoverability. How can I discover this? Is it like accidental discovery, or I need to go into the network, or else I need to have an admin access to exploit this security vulnerability. So that's a threat ranking where you need to help your company or your senior managers or the stakeholders with this report. So this is mainly to help your managers uh, uh, think about the how much what we need to fix first and what we can fix later. So that's threat modeling and threat ranking. Now, what we learned here was mix of black hat and white hat, but we said that black hat are the evil guys. So this is how I would build my security team. So you can think about it. I would say mix of black hat hackers and white hat hackers. The reason I say X is because we don't want the bad guys inside our company. So someone who has been a black hat hacker before and has that criminal mindset to keep the malicious hackers away, I would always hire these two people so that there's a diversity in the team members, and also create a red team and a blue team where it's about the red are the offensive guys who always are abusing the product and then reporting it, and the blue team are the ones who are fixing it and saying, okay, we win or you win. So that's a red and blue team at the high level. So you need not worry about much things. So just think about red and blue are someone who are fighting each other to help the customer. So they are a team, but they are rivals. Expand my network of hackers. So that's what I have been doing for last 10 years, and travel the world to meet ex-black hat hackers. I've done this. I've traveled around nearly more than 25 countries now. And wherever I go, I find this hackers group in the meetups or anywhere. I walk in there and listen to them. They share their experience, and it's really great to meet them and talk to them and hear their experiences and facilitate experiential based learning to members. So if you have a team, experiential based, share your experience, what I did. So if I say I was working on this product and I saw that I could increase my bank account balance abusing this API endpoint. And as there was no intrusion detection system, which was built into the application, no one got to know who created more money for themselves. So this experience can really help people because there are emotions, there are physiological expressions on your face. They are really amazing for your team members learning. Set up a hacker lab with a great kick-ass infrastructure. Have a great machines. It's not just like a 12 GB RAM. You can use like 50 GB RAM. Do you have a lab like that in your company? I mean, most of them do not have. All you have is around mainly 12 GB RAM. You can do great hacking even with those machines because it's about the idea and not something about the tools. But having a great machines can help you be productive in some areas, like decrypting the passwords or dehashing. There's no concept called dehashing with the password storage. There's only hashing, like MD hashing, MD5, SHA, and all different hashing. So all these things is what I would do it if I could afford it. And always I spend my money, even if I have something, I buy the gadgets wherever I can teach people to become better hackers because we have a big game to play with the bad guys in the industry or in the world. Security test coverage. When I speak about security test coverage, this is how you can actually measure certain things of your application. OWASP top 10 proactive controls, top 10 attacks, browser-based vulnerabilities, device hardware, okay, frameworks, and blah blah blah. And mainly, which I wouldn't say blah blah blah, is ASVS 4.0 checklist, which is here in the end. Application Security Verification Standard 4.0. So that helps you build your security requirements. This is the page. If you go to cheatsheetseries.oas.org, you see all these ASVS requirements. Wherever this fits into your model or in your context, use this and apply to your application. It's already done by OAS, which is a non-profitable organization, and you can take it from here. And there are also cheat sheets as well. You can look into the cheat sheets and start learning security and also sharing that with your team members. There's a lot of data, and the first thing is to not get intimidated. Start from OAS is what I would say, and start thinking crime, not to commit a crime, but actually safeguard yourself or safeguard your users against the criminals who are out there, because they are more than us, of course. There's more bad than good. So going back to my slides here, so this is what I would do. And thank you everyone, but we are not finishing it here. We will see some of the attacks here, which is a demos. Let's go back to here, this page. If I go to Alter Mutual Bank, this is a demo site only. You can use it as well. So what happens here is, so let's say I wanted to try a content injection attack. Let's say a script tag and alert is a function, and then I say hacked. Look at that. First thing is, if I go to my manager and say, there is a cross-site scripting attack, because I could use a script tags in the search field or any input fields in your application. Wherever there's a JavaScript, it could be a desktop application as well. You can use a Node.js, or you can have a JavaScript frameworks in your websites or web applications, and you can try these kind of attacks. So once I do this, my manager says, what's wrong with that? Nothing is going to happen, because only you can see that, right? I mean, I can see as a user, I see hack, and I'm typing this, hack. So, but then I come back to my desk. Again, I do the same thing. Now this is a next level of hacking. I do the same thing, I see this, but my words are going to change when I speak to my manager next. Do you see the URL attribute here? There is a query string here called query, and there's a script. So what I can do is I can copy this and then use a URL shortener like tinyurl.com, and then I would create a tiny URL here. And once I get that, I would take this tiny URL and go here, right? Okay, it's the same security bug. What I'm going to do is, on my social media, I'm going to share that tiny URL. Take this URL and say, Alter Mutual has got great security measures. Now I'm trying to affect the reputation of Alter Mutual, and that's a bad thing for you as a business, right? Because the bad news is going to spread faster, and that's more dangerous for your application. Depends on how you're going to talk to your managers or your team or anyone, if you really want to showcase the risk behind a specific attack. So risk-based testing, like we call it, you can speak about the security risks as well in your team. If you want to build a great team, you have to work with your team members where they are good at storytelling. And this is not big. My manager will still say, who would do that? That's a famous statement that we see in the testing industry. Who would do that? I have heard it, I think, in the first 2 years. After that, I would use my bug advocacy skills to tell people, show different things rather than just speaking. Now, what I would do is use a script source and inject this. Once I do this part, people, you are not seeing anything on user interface. But if I go to the source here, search for work to code, look at this thing. I injected this in the web application. And this .js file could be anything, which could be malicious. Once any JavaScript is inside your application storm, think that malicious hackers can do anything and everything with your application. That's a dangerous attack. If you show this, then they will feel, oh, this is really bad. But I come back to my desk and I will use a different kind of story now, which would be this part. I wrote this code to show people how you can really show the risk of specific security bug. So look at this. I created this. This is not the login form of Alter Mutual, but anyone who sees this page, they're going to say, oh wow, looks like a new update. We are using 1024 bit encryption. I haven't seen 1024 at all. But people wouldn't understand. They would think 1024, oh wow, that's really good. And they would enter their email address, password, and once they click on submit, it's going to send this username and password to me, who is a malicious hacker here in this case, as an example. So when I do this, look at what you can do here. And the biggest problem is we do the same thing, copy this whole thing because it's the code. Whatever we search here, it was a post request. And we go back to our tiny URL, create a tiny URL, and identify the customers of Alter Mutual and send them an email with admin@altermutual.com or support@altermutual.com and write an email this way saying your account will be freezed if you do not comply within 3 hours by logging in and changing your profile details or marking something as checked. And people, when they're stressed, when they're under pressure, they would always click on that link. They will come here, and all they see is this one, altermutual.com. Oh, this is my bank. They enter this, but they are not seeing this because they are not techies. They don't understand this, and they're not hackers. So that's how we fall into different traps and do that. So we identified all these things, and there are many different kinds of attacks here. You can inject the image as well, image source. You can use any HTML tag here because that's what this security bug does. Copy link address for the image logo and put it here. This is a broken image, but you can add any other image as well. So if I can quickly take you to a different one, there's a business impact here, 43. Great. So what we did recently here, and you have to speak about business impact here. First, the reputation of the company or a brand. Image source, malicious image, hacker.gif. I can load any image because this is a content injection attack. It could be your HTML, JavaScript, or CSS, or anything. And I would load a porn image, and then it would bring down the reputation of a company if I just share it on Twitter because the domain name is altermutual.com. And there are many websites, many companies who have these security bugs. This website is malicious and is flagged by dangerous by Google. I can even have a bigger text using a H1 tag. H1 does a heading in a big font size, H1 to H6. And meta tags as well. If I wanted to redirect Alter Mutual to somewhere else, I can do the meta tags. I can use a video tags. I can use some videos here anywhere from the YouTube or any porn site and hurt the reputation and the image of a company. So I can also create a phishing images as well. If I look into this part here, I would share the below on the social media. If you are a customer of a X Bank, which is Alter Mutual, please log in securely using this URL here, and which will take us to that tiny URL page, this part, whatever we injected here in terms of this form, take it back, put it here and execute. So that's a content injection tag. So we have many security bugs like this everywhere. And what I would recommend people is looking into the ASVS and start with the OWASP, which is Open Web Application Security Project. And I would open for questions now. So if you have any questions about how you want to, whatever you heard now, we can talk about it. And I thank PractiTest and all the crew members and who helped me really to put this show here for all of you. I hope this has been a great learning and you all rock. Start from somewhere, cheat sheet, ASVS, or just thinking like criminal. That's a mindset. Great, and here is the contact me, Twitter, email address as well, LinkedIn. I'm not using the tiny URL or URL shorteners for my own reasons. Yeah.
Thank you, Santosh. I hope everyone enjoyed it. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to email them to Santosh or share them with us and we will forward the answer to you. And we welcome you to join us in our next event. We will publish them soon. Thank you, everyone.